surprise. You probably did not know this was coming, okay? This is a mystery pick a card, and it's actually for the money manifestations mid-year biannual report. This is the biannual report. This is the check-in for how things have been going this year so far. And happy Pride Month, you guys. Welcome in. Things have been extremely tense, so especially around these topics around sexuality and gender norms and gender identities and gender expressions, and there has been a lot of us at court, especially for discrimination and harassment on these bases as well. So I just want to take some time to thank you guys for being here and wishing you a safe journey to self-discovery. This money manifestations is actually a prerequisite for this is actually a prerequisite for the masterclass that is inspired by Trump accounts, LOL. So the stripper masterclass is coming to XO Felicia Nitrice Diaries if you want to learn all about how I budget my lifestyle, okay? And we're actually going to use the AI tool to help us do this. So I'm really excited to bring you guys that masterclass. It's kind of gonna it's formal, but it'll be over on live stream, so we'll definitely get into some stripper 101 masterclass Trump accounts, okay? But your question is a mystery, and it's under each of the selections, so choose intuitively based on like a symbol, a motif, and energy, and I will see you guys in your selection. Hi group 1, welcome to your selection. So you chose the American flag star, and this is your question. And so the point of this reading is to help you understand what your spiritual gifts are for making money. And so we're actually going to do an expected versus unexpected. This is kind of like actual versus forecast, where we compare and we dive into maybe even the variance of what you were expecting around your money manifestations versus what actually happened. And so let's get into it, you guys. We're actually going to use our new and improved continued education deck. As in, I'm actually going to put all of the topics together into one deck. So I haven't decided if I was going to put this with the channel messages, but for right now, it's kind of for special matters. So let's dive in, friends. Okay, this is like the financial freedom deck, the continued education deck, what else? The legally spiritual deck, okay. And I think that is all of them, okay. 3 decks in one. So, oh, it's so crazy. Perfect crime. LOL. So some of you guys are CEOs, okay. So you're very, very your chief executive officer head ass, commanding and directing as per usual. But I think that there's a matter that could be going on behind the scenes that involves crime. And some of you guys, I'm not gonna say, I don't know what you are, but or what kind of like what side of the, I don't know, crime spectrum that you fall on. But I think that there are some CEOs, I think that all CEOs know this, and that's how to get away with crime. Like, I think that some people are Scotty too hotty and they come out scot clean when they commit crimes. So some of you guys, this situation, you're not really the variance. I feel like you're not so mad about the variance, like what you manifested this cycle versus like what was expected to manifest versus what was unexpected, because you are doing some of you guys are literally committing perfect crimes. And this is like a zero evidence, zero traceability. And I'm not condoning this, right? This is for entertainment purposes only, right? Until further notice. But this, like, I think that you're not really making a big deal about, like, expecting a certain payout, because it is so, like, what you're doing, you're getting away with a crime. I don't know what you're doing, LOL, but some of you guys could be getting away with crime, or this situation could involve a crime. So let's keep going. About what is, what manifested this cycle these past 6 months versus like what was expected versus what was unexpected. Okay. Yeah, what did I say? Risk and uncertainty describes a situation in which there is a chance of loss or danger, and refers to a condition where you are not sure about the future outcomes, probabilities, or occurrences. Information is not available to the decision maker. Yeah, I think that some of you guys, because this is a perfect crime, the word perfect may suggest that it's not uncertain and risky. It's certain. It's like most definitely uncertain and risky, and most definitely dangerous. So but you guys are living dangerously and carefully. But I feel like, there is a chance of loss in these situations, but you are doing something, you're taking a risk, and it's dangerous. And so far you guys have been getting away with this like scot-free. Okay. Because you're FP&A. That's why, friend. If you know, you know. Oh, well, no gatekeeping. But there's just like, you have to have, like, some of you guys have this like comprehensive knowledge of, of a trade, a skill, a course of study. Some of you literally have been working in FP&A, and if you're a CEO, then you definitely work with FP&A, right? A set of activities that support an organization's financial health, planning, budgeted, integrated financial planning, management, performance, reporting, forecasting, and modeling. Okay, so I think some of you guys, if you are a startup, you're definitely this. Some of you guys are startups, or you have this brilliant innovation that you've been investing in, and some of it require you to take risk, and take risk under uncertain conditions. And this has been it's been burdensome, and it puts you on edge. So if people catch you outbursting, or they catch you throwing a tantrum, or they catch you in a bad mood about something, it's probably because of all the risk and uncertainty that's involved in getting the startup off of the ground. But you guys have so much, like maybe your entry-level job taught you a lot about what to expect, and how to consolidate financial reports. So I think that you do this very, very perfectly, and this is why it's so funny to your competitors. And I think that's why a lot of them have been for several years. Like, if this involves an enemy or something like that, you probably were not expecting that. But I think that you learn that it is like they don't really have a comprehension of what you do, and some of them they didn't study the right things in school or something like that. Like, they didn't study in school, or they didn't have, they don't have this early education. Some of you guys are this early training in your career, or early employment opportunities or something like that, that make you a star at what you're doing. This person is like there's someone around that's like I think that they finally let go of a delusional rapport and accepted the fact that they're just not a star in this financial planning. Okay, in this financial planning, or like supporting an organization is just not something that they can do. I think that there could be contention around your money manifestations, like trying to, like, if you guys are running an organization, trying to decide if you want to sell products or focus more on a brand name or brand household. And there could be like contention around whether products are better than brands. And I think that some of you guys, if you are like a solopreneur or something, then it might not be so feasible to sell products, because that just like involves an entire, it involves entirely, it involves manufacturing operations, and a lot of companies, like, can have a high could have like could have high returns and not sell products. And I think that some of you guys, you're a really, really strong brand or performance, but there's something that you do that, like, that supports an organization or supports your organization. You might have, like, your organization might not sell products or something like that, or there's like, you're integrating a financial planning that you started from many years ago as well, is what I'm hearing. And I think that what's so funny about your competitors is a lot of them are novices, or they are getting caught for like committing the same crime because they were not smart enough to like consolidate their financial reports. Like, the numbers got a tie, friend. Okay. And so like now I think that you're moving into this era probably where where there's a lot of reporting going on, and so those numbers definitely have to tie, and you have to explain the variance. And so if you don't, like, what was expected versus what was unexpected, I think that you're not so right now, especially if you're a startup, you might not have so much profit or so much cash, but I definitely think that you could be in a bad mood about competitors or about the risk and uncertainty involved in getting this off of the ground, or some of you guys need to, like, there's been a lot of financial planning that's getting integrated, and so this has all been a long road to you reaching this point where you actually have balances on your statements, whereas before, especially in a startup, you might not have had a whole lot of transactions or activities. And so now, if you started reporting, you probably have accrued things, you probably have earned, and have costs also. So I think that a lot of I think that this strong spiritual gift that you have for making money is not so much as making the most money or having the most cash, right? It's really about how capable you've been in, like, even integrating this financial planning in such that, it's actually getting organized, is what I'm hearing. So I think that this is just, you probably were not expecting. I think this integration was something that you were expected, okay? But your organization is, some of you guys have a foundation that involved a lot of risk and uncertainty and possibly danger. So this reporting out is getting consolidated, is I'm also getting that you're actually starting to forecast. Maybe in the past you didn't have a forecast, right? So there was nothing really to expect. So I think that's where you are right now, group. Yeah, this cash flow analysis. Some of you guys don't have a lot of cash. And so the evaluation of inflows and outflows of cash obtained from financing, operating, and investment activities, right? Okay. So this could be happening a lot in the press. I'm hearing something about major reports coming out about your organization, and it evaluates the inflows and outflows of cash in your organization. And some of this, a lot of this were financings, okay, or involves investment activities. So it might not be like a whole lot of cash or profit at this time, but I definitely think that you are starting to evaluate. Like, there's not so much here to report, I think, or to, like, I don't think there's so much to evaluate around what was expected versus what was unexpected. And We have slander per se. Okay, yeah, I was kind of getting that like some of this is about your organization getting slandered, okay, or you getting slandered. This could have happened at some point in your career, okay. And so I think that like this is an interesting energy because some of you your organization could have gotten slandered, or you could have gotten slandered because um, because of something that you financed. They're trying to like, I think that they're trying to reduce the credibility of your organization because it's lacking. It financed something, or it's lacking cash, um, or it there was something dangerous about what you're doing. They're saying that there's something dangerous about your organization, okay? Um, some of y'all, your organization was impacted by slander, um, or your career in general was impacted by slander, and it was because people were envious of it, okay? This group is definitely, people definitely are envious of your money because you guys are so perfect within your consolidations. It is just, they can't really follow it, especially if you're like epigenetic, traumatic peoples, people with a collective trauma, people people who are disproportionately disadvantaged. They definitely don't know how an organization like consolidates their books, like, you know what I'm saying. So I think that this is like, if you're like, some of you guys were met with enemies that did not know that you were like this Wolf of Wall Street financial planning and analysis gang, and so I think that you've been navigating challenges with inflows and outflows of economic of um, inflows and outflows of cash in your organization, because you keep, maybe there are opportunities to get cash or to get financing, but then there's like a situation where you're like met with a slander, or you're met with I think something happens in divine timing. You're met with a slander, or you're met with someone who sees the cash coming in, or sees the financing coming in, and they steal wealth with a slander. Okay, this is like, some of you guys have your organization and your opportunities at work have definitely been impacted by slander, and that's a form of reputation theft. So some of y'all, this could have happened before you start your organization, or during, or after, but I definitely feel like it's impacting your money manifestations in general. And I also feel like it has also, like, this feels like this vengeance energy. It feels like this dark Lilith energy, where some of you guys, even if you're masculine, where some of you guys have started making money with a vengeance, you know what I'm saying, or you started to commit crime with a vengeance. I'm not gonna say, like, I don't know what kind of crime you could be doing, but it could be something to make up for a lack of cash, because you've been met with so many I'm hearing karmic challenges where people steal your cash, literally. Like, these people, like some, especially if you're at the strippy, y'all, these girls become ridiculously unhinged when they see you getting a lot of customers, or they see you always going to VIP. They know that your customers got money. They know that you have like a variety of customers too, and so they start slandering you in the workplace. They start slandering you at work, trying to turn customers against you and stuff like that, trying to steal customers, steal family, steal money, right? That's what they're essentially what they're doing. And it's kind of like, even if you're not in the raunchy strippy, you can also be just like at work and in an office space, and you're trying to focus on having a good reputation and doing, and producing deliverables, and then there's like this undercurrent of a slander of people in the workplace, getting like, going to, with a ruthless ambition, going to lots of different extremes to try to stuff you out, to try to steal your wealth, to fight for, opportunities in the workplace to move up and stuff like that. So there's been like a cutthroat work environment here for sure. But I think that a lot of these people, especially if you meet them and you have this, like, you're like a wolf dressed in sheep's clothing, especially if you're at the strippy or something like that, y'all. Or you're like, something about your work is undercover. Maybe you're working in a job that you're overqualified for just for cash, right? But there's something that, where these people don't know that you're this Wolf of Wall Street, perfect crime, Trump account, right? So it's wild and unbeknownst, right? When they fight over wealth and stuff like that, and then later find out that you're like this, you know, this billion-dollar company, like, you're like this renowned ass organization with like $1 billion valuation. So this has been like, and they say, they say that they're shocked and floored that they were fighting over petty cash when you were just there trying to be slick and slide or something like that. It's like something where you literally snatch a bitch wig off when they see your organization and see that they were never in any place to be trying to come for your money, that they don't even understand. Something where people try to come for money that they don't even understand, but people keep like calling them dumb, or they call them novices. They say that they're not smart enough to be here. They say they don't have enough early education to be here. And so a lot of you know that you're like this rich girl, this rich colleague at work where you just have like this deep knowledge and this this training that you've obtained, and it's just not something that's accessible to them. It's not something that's an opportunity or realistic for them. So that's why the whole conflict has been delusional to begin with. The delusional card has been coming out for 2 umpteenth years, and these people have, just because they didn't understand how to, literally because they didn't know how to understand money. They didn't understand money, or they didn't understand your organization, how it had money, or they didn't understand, just like they don't know, right? They don't have a value of their material world, right? And wealth is difficult, and it takes a long time to learn, right? And so that's why people say that, like, they're novices, or that they're just like these delusional people in like this one-sided, fight where they have no idea what the fuck they're talking about to begin with, right? It's like that I think that, the delusional thing is that somebody were slandering you, or they were trying to make it about, like, they were trying to make comparisons about beauty, when at the end of the day there was no bag getting secured because you're just an idiot. Like, it's not about your look. It's literally about the fact that you're a novice, or you don't understand risk, and you're just sitting there looking at something and thinking that it's like something where they tried to analyze your cash flow, and bitches got very confused. It's because some of you guys commit a perfect crime, or you have just how to consolidate these financial reports, and you understand the risk. It's like something where you understand the risk of the analysis or something like that, and they're just sitting there looking like a fucking idiot trying to mimic your movement in life or mimic your organization, and they literally will not have a flow like this. Okay, sorry y'all, and I think that could be really triggering, because it was delusional to begin with. Like, it's like, imagine coming around trying to assert an opinion about your egg-shaped head, and then we're like sitting here talking about like $1 trillion that you can't even, you think it's all some like cute little financial report on social media. Like, this is real risk and uncertainty. These are real bigwigs. This is the real Wolf of Wall Street. Like, and some of y'all are literally financially free from risk and uncertainty that you took after your cash was impacted by slander. Like, and in some of you, this is a karmic challenge where you keep, like, in workplaces. This is why empaths and spiritual people cannot work these mundane traditional jobs, because you go in and you're definitely motivated to make cash, because you are looking to expand your cash for your operating expenses and whatever else you need, right? And so, like, yeah, you've been this visionary with the Aquarius energy, so it's been so weird that they were trying to fight over a vision where there's been so much risk and uncertainty about the vision, and they have absolutely no fucking idea what kind of bullshit that they can get themselves into, or they don't know what kind of risk that you're taking. And so it's just weird, right, that you're sitting there trying to like fight over a vision that you never really had a dedication to achieve in the first place, right? Or even like an understanding, a practical sensibility about the type of some of you guys went into this fully understanding, like if you weren't uncertain, you fully understood the risk, right? And so this is why it's kind of like a really big chuckle, and that you and your smart friends are actually laughing at them. LOL. So so anyways, I kind of lost my train of thought, but I think that like some people were I think that they were like really trying to like put two and two together about your cash and how your organization was operating, but because they don't have enough skills and comprehension and practical sensibility around the matter, they really just are not getting the same results. That's why it's been delusional, because they were never qualified enough to begin with. There's no brand versus product anything, because there's a organization with a big vision and reporting, right? And so whatever you're doing is not a report. And some of them, even if they have like, they could have a product, or they can have something that they sell, something that generates revenue, right? They can have streams of revenue, right? But I definitely think that some of them, they were not a perfect crime. And so when your reports come out, your reports are definitely seamless. They're definitely there's definitely no variance, or they're tied out, or there's no trace, okay? So I feel like I think what's expected versus what is unexpected in this matter is that some of you guys, you were not expecting them to get caught for trying to commit. Some of them, they were caught for trying to commit the same crimes as you. LOL, and they just did not have a successful consolidation, or they didn't have enough early education. Okay? So let's keep going, group one. LOL, that's funny. Even if these are like girls at the strippy, right? A lot of them, they're illegal immigrants, or they're committing other crimes and stuff like that. And so when they see that you've been doing all this to fight for your organization, or to fight against something that has been unjust, they really are humbled, right? They're super humble, because they look like they're trying to go get it too, right? They look like they some go getters too, like they're doing this risky, uncertain thing too, right? And then they get busted. Like, some of them literally got charged, right? They literally got charged in the club. They got taken out of the club. You know what I'm saying? Some of them, they got sentences, and like, you guys, a lot of y'all don't have no criminal. You don't have any criminal background. You guys were not caught doing anything. Okay. We have the third eye chakra. Okay. Group one. So I think that you definitely, with this third eye chakra, I don't think it's so much as expected versus unexpected in this matter, because you are just starting to report, or you're just starting to integrate this financial planning that you've been doing. A lot of y'all are so smart, because you had this vision. You kind of already anticipated what risk that you would run into, what was uncertain about the situation. Some of you guys, you might be worrying about consolidating, or you might be worried about I think that your biggest concern is slander, not so much as your reports being off. You know what I'm saying? So I think, what's expected, you probably were not expecting the slander, okay? Some of you guys were, in this most recent cycle, or the past 6 months at least, you guys were met with a slander around your vision, okay? And it was, and I think that it led to outflows. I think that it led to a lot of you making investments, or spending a lot of money on something, taking a risk, right? And I think that you might have expanded your vision, and you might have obtained some cash, but I don't think that you got I think that there were more economic outflows than inflows because of a slander that kind of distracted from the vision. So a lot of you guys you didn't get as much inflow as you possibly could have. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could have, like, some of you guys, this could have even been like social media stuff where you could have been, there are definitely key performance indicators here around your social media performance, and you've probably been trying to like assess and analyze your engagement and just like the returns on the investment in general. And I think that you guys are very satisfied with, you weren't expecting anything, I think, but I think that what you did create is a cycle. This is just a cycle, but I think that you could have been converting more, or your metrics could have been a little bit better had you not been met with like this slander that have been kind of tainting the whole entire experience, I think. Okay, so yeah, you are so epic, hella epic. That's why, right? So that's really, really interesting, friends. I think that, like, let's pull some tarot about this energy. What was expected versus what was unexpected? Because I think that your organization is epic, and I think that when these hoes find out that your money is long like this, or that you have this skill, or that you have this big vision, or that, like, a lot of them, they already have like seen this, they've already, like, I don't know, they have expectations already, I think, especially if you guys have started reporting, or you started to, I don't know, like I said, like, you're starting to report, or you're starting to model, you're starting to forecast, or you're starting to get critical feedback. There could be investors at stake here, and they're definitely like looking at the set of activities that support your organization. So it's not always about selling a product that could actually be very burdensome on a solopreneur, or a 10 employee $1 billion company, right? So, some of you guys have really small teams, a very lean model. You working for yourself. Maybe you guys are still you've been planning so much, and you planned a lot for these reports and these models. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of y'all have already, what to expect, how to consolidate your reports, right? So I'm not worried about that, but I think that you were not, what was unexpected, or what could have led to some type of erosion around your metrics, could definitely be this slander. Like, it definitely took away the vision, or like made you feel like a little bit uncertain about your success rate. Okay, and I think that this slander were people who were competing with you, and they took risks, and some of them, they tried to they were writing essays, creating parodies and satires, and they were aura farming, and they were getting aggressive and violent, and it just got out of control because they just did not understand how some of you guys were having a lot of cash, or they saw you as being wealthy, right, rich, and you're just like, what the fuck are you talking about? I've been here taking all this risk, and now I'm finally getting this cash, and then somebody like attacks it or something like that, something like where you finally get the cash, somebody attacks. And I'm here like, it's most often always a black person that starts doing something deranged and fighting over money in the strip club. Like, stop roaching. Like, that's weird. Like, stop begging, and stop like getting hostile when you're not making money. Like, sorry, Hazel, not making money, not going to VIP. Sorry, Ivy, not making money, not going to VIP. At least not with my man. All right. Like, girls is getting deranged. Like, stop fighting over someone else's money. Like, and then a lot of the times they don't even get the same amount of money. They don't even get anything. They just get looked at weird. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just get looked at. Especially like some customers are very, very loyal to their dancers, right? So anyways, you know, there could be a lot of slander. Like if you have like a nightlife job or something where you're making fast money, I think that you're getting so pissed off because it already involves risk and uncertainty, or you're already taking these, you know, these chances elsewhere, and then you're met with a bird brain ass bitch with, you know, 2 strands of hair and a flat iron bob, trying to talk, you know, trying to talk to a pitchfork. Like, stop talking. Like, you like, it's, and then something happens where they kind of get like, they get like turned around, or they get like, when they see what you've been working on or how you can strategize, they feel dumb, because they're just like, you were competing for something that you were never in parallel with to begin with. Okay, so I think that that's why they feel so dumb, is that it's like a total misdirection to compete for your cash, because it's absolutely not going to yield them anything. Okay, so, you know, what was expected versus what was unexpected in this past 6 months. Yeah, that 5 of Swords with the slander, but I think that you actually won, lol. With the 5 of Swords, your conflict is a lot more treacherous. Like, and this supports what I was saying earlier. It's like they feel dumb that there's a conflict over your money with the slander, right? They start slandering, trying to fight to stop you from receiving money. Like, they try to stop customers from giving you money, stop people from supporting you, stop your family from supporting you. Some of you guys dealt with a crime or a fraud as a domestic or family violence within your home. Some of you had a security breach on your home, or there's been a lot of danger around your organization or your employment. Your job is very dangerous. Some of you, if you're a CEO, that's very dangerous, right? So there's been a lot of conflict about wealth, but I feel like you personally won that. Okay, so it's like, especially when they try to fight over your money, you do something ambitious, daring, and like brave, and kind of like put their lights out. Like, I think that you really turn the lights out, because they realize that they were like, the 5 of Swords is below, right? They means that they're like, I'm not gonna, you know, ChatGPT has been getting on me about that. Like, don't reduce people to hierarchies. But like, if you're a CEO and there's like subordinates, or there's people who just are not, like, even if it's not a official like hierarchy or official chain of command, it literally could be just like an unofficial thing where you're just like a dominant person, a dominant figure, a leader in an environment, and they just are pissed, you know what I'm saying, because you're epic, right? And you have that third eye chakra instinct. You already know what the 5 of Swords. That's why it's so funny, because you already knew about the uncertainty and the risk involved with taking a cash or financing opportunity, and then they feel so dumb for like trying to tussle over something that they really couldn't defend. You know what I'm saying? It's always that they never could really defend it. So I think that you were, yeah, with the King of Wands in the reverse, like, and it definitely feels like it involves a man. Like, when they see you, you know, with a man at work, or collaborating with a man at work, you could literally just be doing something for work. You know, you're probably not even at all, you know, romantic with them, strictly business, and they see you with a man at work, and then something where like, you know, the man get mad too, you know, friend, the man get mad too, but this definitely feels like a man, no matter what your gender is. But if you're in like a woman and man dynamic at work or something like that, these relationships get very tense, right? You're the Queen of Pentacles at work, a rich girl that everybody depends on, you know. Some of you guys are working mothers, right? Working fathers, and you're very driven and ambitious, but you're met with somebody with a ruthless ambition in the workplace with the King of Wands. And this person, they try to slander your name at work, and you remain secured, right? Your position remained intact, and their projection narrative, it integrated itself and kind of like fizzled out, lol, because they, like I was getting before, they were underqualified, you know. So like, I feel like this, like, whatever it is, you just feel like their authority, and they just don't understand risk and uncertainty, and they create even bigger risk by starting fights, you know what I'm saying? Like at the club and stuff like that, like, y'all fighting each other is, you're already vulnerable, you're already poor, you're already in bad health, you're already there trying to do something strange for a piece of change, it's really not a good idea to start fighting with each other. It doesn't really make sense, right? So, you know, I think that like these fights at work have been people who slandered you, but your reputation remained intact. Like the venue is still the venue. The You're still, some of you guys, you're literally still paid, or you're still promoted, you're still like, some people even doubled down after this conflict started. They were like, well, we know that's gonna sell, because if you like, if something, when the report started or the forecasting started, people got pissed off because they knew that meant that this money was coming in, right? But some of you guys, you might have felt like you had more outflow than inflow in this past cycle, and I just think that it could just be because you're just beginning to like integrate this financial plan that you've had. Like, you have the plan, you have the budget, you have the plan, you know exactly what and how to consolidate it, and you are and I think that like you are just waiting for, I don't know, for something to become steady, or some type of licenses to become obtained or something like that. And there's a lot of risk in obtaining like getting a license or becoming, your paperwork getting finalized. Okay, so I think that that's why you're not really you weren't really expecting anything here, but what you were not expecting, or didn't care for, probably was this slander, or these, you know, just having to, you know, you thought you might have been done by now, but then it, you know, you kept facing more, you kept facing more danger, more risk, right? It just feels like it keeps getting more dangerous, more risky. And if you are a CEO, well, welcome to the club, right? It's not over, it just gets worse. All right, that's what I'm saying, friends, about your money manifestations. You know, around this topic, your spiritual gifts for money. You're definitely someone that is intuitive. You might have like water placements in your Saturn, part of your chart, and a lot of you guys, you take an intuitive approach to your money. I think that, you know, you're now the Queen of Pentacles, right? Oh well, you see all this, you see this coin right here. Queen of Pentacles is a working mother. You're very secure within yourself as long as you keep working and keep producing, I think that you have to keep tending to a situation that's a conflict, right? Especially because you're winning the conflict, and it was because however they slandered you was not able to be defended. It was false. Okay, LOL. And that's how it goes a lot of the time, right? It's a total waste, right? Total missed opportunities for money, total missed opportunities for collaborations, friendships, or, you know, for businesses and organizations to come together, because people become ruthless, right? And a work environment, especially when they started to see this financial planning becoming integrated. They see everything that you planned, everything that you invested, you know, this foundation of risk that you took, you know, where things were really uncertain. You're actually starting to obtain the influence and the affluence, and a lot of you guys are starting to obtain the wealth. You're starting to get investments. And so when people saw this change in this most recent cycle, they got so jealous of your big vision and how well planned it was, and how you've been committing a perfect crime, or it was just perfectly divine timed. And so you actually came out on top of this slander. You actually came out as like the one with the superior conflict in the matter, because you were fucking epic to have been, like, you were so epic to have done this, you know what I'm saying? And to be leaving scot-free, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying, group one, about your money manifestations for this halfway biannual report. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Hi, group two, welcome to your selection. So you chose the star. Okay, here's your question, group two. You know, kind of generally surrounding your spiritual gifts for making money. LOL, group. Wait, this is not your group. Group two. Your spiritual gifts for making money. What is the next alignment? What is the next alignment move in the upcoming cycle? Okay, what's the next alignment move in the upcoming cycle? Okay, Sorry, group 2. That was not your question. LOL, but I'm glad we caught it, right? So let's see what the channel oracle has to say about that. Okay. What does I think that something was savage. I don't know, friends. Something that about you or the way that you move was very savage. Like some of you guys, you moved with a symmetry. Okay, so you moved with a symmetry. Okay, so some people are regarding this as like a very savage like behavior. They say that you were like ice. You were professional. You were like cold as ice, or you were very cutthroat in a situation. And that's actually a spiritual gift, especially like some of you guys, you know, meeting your symmetrical counterpart is the best thing that could happen to you, because some of you guys, this person's name is Jerry, or their name starts with the letter J or G. Meeting your counterpart, and they might come from a different walk of life. Okay, friend, they might be a totally different, you know, they might be a different social class than you. They might, you know, be a different race than you, different, you know, even if it's like something could even be like same gender, right? Something out of the norm. And I feel like when you find a line of symmetry, this really, like, I think that your symmetry partners put you in alignment with your money. And isn't that crazy? Like, that's wild. Because you, like, it's like you think that the harmony and the structure will come from what you always known and your family, and you think that, you know, your wealth is safe with your family, right? Or you think your wealth is safe with people who look like you, and then you meet someone totally different and they just give to you abundantly and cherish you. So it is like the total opposite experience. Could be really, really destabilizing. So I think that this could be the next alignment, is for some of you guys to get into alignment with your partner, especially if your partner is in a different social class. Maybe they have public recognition even as well. And there's an image that you need to establish first before you get into alignment with this money, okay, this money opportunity, or this partner. In the next cycles, I think that what's moving into alignment is more rewards and recognition. And especially if you guys are here from group 1, you might be recovering from slander and libel, right? Or you're recovering from something that could have tainted your rewards and recognition. I'm also hearing there's a division, okay? And you guys, there's a factional divide here. And you might need to, might be relevant to work, and this could be very triggering to you, because sometimes you want to move to a different group too, okay? Sometimes you want to move to a different group. That's what I'm hearing, okay? So, and I think that it can make you feel destabilized, because, you know, you're getting met with something that, you know, you're getting met with a cherishing or an abundance, or you find a line of symmetry with an unconventional opportunity or an unexpected opportunity, and it might want to make you switch your job, switch your life around, right? Especially if they become involved in you making money, then some of them want to be a part of your group too. Or maybe you won't have to change your group. Maybe they'll change to your group or something. LOL. And I think that like these upcoming cycles are aligning cycles, and it's for you to really establish your image, because you are moving into a lot of you guys are moving into the dominant culture, and this is like a beautiful blessing of money manifestations, right? And I don't want you to, that's the end of the line, that's the end of the story. Don't go deep into, you know, some kind of shadow aspects of wealth. I think that, you know, the line of symmetry would vary for lots of people, but I think that it truly enables your wealth. It truly unlocks your wealth, right? With this something with this Gemini or this, these symmetrical relationships or unconventional relationships that may have an unconventional structure, but they put you in alignment, or they give you more rewards and recognition, and they establish your identity and make it safe from like people from your cultural group that try to like vote and poach on your like image. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let's get some cards. Group 2, we have net profit. Okay. The bad debt. Okay. I was just reading this book. We have the common law. Okay. And then security. Okay. So I definitely think that like they give you security, y'all. And you might be like, oh my God, how can you ever trust somebody that's not from your culture? How can you trust somebody that's from your culture? I'm sorry, friend. I'm sorry. How can you trust their ass? How can you trust anyone? It's not just, I think that some of you guys prefer to date outside your race, and I don't fucking blame you. Because your securities have been stolen by people from your group, okay? Places where you should have felt safe, supported, and had strong boundaries, it was not security, right? This person should have, like, we thought that they would have, like, this new opportunity, this unexpected opportunity, y'all are over there like, we thought that you would have handled that totally different, right? And they did not handle it very well. Something, especially if you guys are here from group 1, like piggybacking off of that a little bit. But I think that like you might want to switch groups, or you might want to make a big life-changing decision that changes your money, that changes where your money is aligned, because it was not safety, support, and boundaries. And it might be a lot of wealth, but I think that the deep value is the emotional security, and less, needing to prove your star-like qualities or needing to push and perform for attention. And I just think that you will get the rewards and recognition without having to be like this desperate person that's like longing to be in the stars. Like, it's not like nobody was trying to, like, we're not, people, I don't know what this is, if this is a group or not, but it just feels like they're aggressive people that come around and they're just like clout chasers, right? And so there's a very big difference between you getting rewards and recognition based on your merit and based on your talent, skills, and gifts, right? But there are a lot of people who just are fame hungry clout chasers that keep getting triggered because you're brown, or keep getting triggered about your skin color, right? And how it, and trying to compare their security to your skin color, and it's very unsafe. I think like some of you literally are like, I do not want to date you. Some of you guys do not want to date inside your racial group if you're people of color. And I think that it's just they're very unsafe projecting onto your skin color about your security. Okay, this is real. Okay, and some of you guys are brown, and so I think that you get a lot less safety concerns from white people or from other racial groups. And I hate to call a spade like that, but that's what we are, friend. Some of you guys want to totally, this alignment means that you leave your group, y'all. Okay, some of you guys are leaving you're moving into the dominant culture. Some of you guys are completely severing ties with your family. There will be no family get-togethers. There will be no returning home, to see family and to spend the holidays, because now that your security is like this, especially when they know that your security is protected by a white person, they will become unhinged about your skin. Okay, so it is just not safe being around people with your security. And I think that this next cycle, there's a lot of changes that might be happening to your security in this next cycle. I definitely think that you are establishing some consistency. So it's not as bad as things used to be before, when you were just living out of this debt, and not having a consistent money. Some of you've been waiting to earn a profit, and you still have not done that yet, or you get like you get more earnings from your partners that come in and expedite your purpose in your life. But what was I going to say? I think that a lot of your biggest concern this cycle is safety. And I think that there are a lot of changes that you guys need to make now that you are becoming wealthy, or you're getting more security, okay? And you're like, what the heck? And I think that it's a beautiful thing, but I think that the more security that you get, the more people the more you are spotlighted. So you might not have asked for the spotlight, or you might not have wanted it, and you're just like, what? Like, why are you why is there so much attention on my security, right? But I truly think that because you are brown, people keep projecting onto your skin color, and this is just really bad. Like, this is like a really, really bad problem at large, right? And when they see your security, some of you guys, whether you choose to signal security or not, is what you need to decide to get into alignment in this upcoming cycle. Because some of you guys, it might be dangerous or unsafe to signal security. Because on the there could be two different responses to your security. Some people will see your security and they will project privilege onto your skin color. But for others, or in another situation, if you choose not to signal your wealth, then they could project other things that could also make you unsafe as well. Okay, like the toxic projections, like you're a bum like them, right? Whether you choose, you have to decide whether you choose to signal your security. I think that you're moving into dangerous cycles where you might have a lot of rewards and recognition. You might be in the press a lot, so people will start to recognize you. We have dynamic. Yeah, I think that there's a dynamic here that's actually bringing you more security. And I feel like it's just such a weird behavior around your security when you are signaling wealth versus when you're not signaling wealth, right? And a lot of this is kind of it could be geographical, where you can struggle with this in certain parts of your country. So some of you guys, this might mean moving to a different part of the country, moving out of the state. If you're thinking about going home, just know you're not going home. I'm hearing that there's a sister at home, or cousins, or people that don't feel safe. Some of you guys, if you try to go home, it won't feel safe and comfortable because they're not secure. Especially some of y'all, there's been an abuse of power where you don't have all of the information, where there's been an abusive sibling, like an abusive sister, or abusive brother, or someone in the family close that have been abusive. Maybe there's been a sexual trauma in the family. There could have been fight over inheritances within the family. And if you are thinking about returning to your home dance studio, returning to your home yoga studio, returning to old employment opportunities, returning to your family home, I just think that with your new security, or the potential for your security, is getting watched by your old life or your ancestry and family, and they just keep projecting onto your skin color, okay? And some of these people are strangers becoming unsafe in the public, where they just keep projecting onto your skin color. And I think that for a lot of you, though, you have not been able to accept certain aspects of your privilege, and some of you guys have not considered yourselves to be light, and you might look at yourself and see a tan version of yourself because it's the summertime. But some of you guys, you might not have been so used to this rewards and recognition before, so some of you are starting to you're considered to be yellow, okay? Or a red bone, yellow bone. You're considered to be light, right? And I think that even with a tan, you know, you might be seeing yourself in natural lighting, and now that you're getting rewards and recognition, a lot of y'all are starting to see yourselves in studio professional lighting, and you are having to accept these truths to be self-evident, friend. Okay, you have not been wanting to accept certain privileges because I don't think that you have used your privilege, but that's the safety issue as well. When people see that you're light, or they see you have nice things, then it's very dangerous. Okay, so I just want to, that has been, you know, that's why you're not in alignment, is because you're not used to all this attention. Okay, and I think that a lot of you as well, especially with this common law coming up, I think that this conventional issue that you're having is kind of in tandem with this common law coming out, this stare decisis energy, because it kind of just like, it's like things that you can recall, like precedences. There are courts. Some of you guys you're actually dealing with legal issues, and this could be impacting your money manifestations. And it could impact, like, I think that you could literally, there could be court decisions coming up, and I think that or there was a precedence that was established in this first half of the year, and so this made you a star, being a part of this like foundational case that lays a precedence for the future, right? Your case, this huge stake in this case, is actually became common law. Okay, or it just is helping us establish some type of consistency with the law. But I think that this conventional issue that you could be having, it's actually drawing you to the common law a lot, and y'all need to, because you could be like these pretty whimsy little cute girls walking around, not wanting to, you know what I'm saying, not wanting to, you could be extroverts, but you know, you could be quite the opposite of an extrovert. But either way, I think that you are a target for security. You know, as soon as people see your skin, they want to see, you know, what you have, right? And see if that like granted you more security. And that's the scary thing, where you actually that actually makes you want to leave. You know, that actually makes you want to leave your group too, is because, like, why do you keep looking at my skin and then looking at my handbag? Like, stop. Like, you're weird. Like, we don't do that. We're educated. We all have nice bags at college. Like, stop. Like, that's the weird thing that keeps going on, especially these immigrants coming in the country. Like, you know, they just fresh off the boat and things of that nature. They come in looking at color and stuff like that. Like, go take your literacy test and calm down. We've literally been here for we've been here for hella umpteenth long, just, you know, addressing our personal freedom like a white man, right? That's our symmetry, is that we addressed our personal freedom like a white man. Now we got security with that white man. And more importantly, they saw the security and wanted to protect it. And then you just keep getting met with this conventional issue from your ancestry and your family that is like making you angry. But I think that is forcing you to address the common law. It's forcing you to address similar situations. I think that some of this is literally making you mad too. And it's making you not want to associate with your group anymore. And, you know, that could also be a part of the white gaze. It's like turning a prejudice towards your own group. But I think that because you've been met with such a common issue of the same ancestral loop and pattern, where, you know, horses and chimpanzees, you know, keep poking their mouth out as soon as they see you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be like a weird, like, it's just like, it's so destabilizing for everybody, because it makes you feel so unsafe being around these people. And that's also like a really privileged, pretty problem, and makes people mad when they visibly see you feeling unsafe. You know what I'm saying? Or they get upset about your big boundaries when you start like something where the best thing that you can do, or what you're probably that's probably annoying people, is reminding them of like the law and stuff like that. Something where you're like you remind them of the law, or you let them know that you refer to a body of law and a court decision that could be ruling against them if they kind of like become like unhinged about your security, right? I think that you definitely, to get into alignment, definitely look for cases, look for precedents, where people have had similar circumstances as you. If there is some type of consistency in the law around this matter, and I think that could also help you get, if you're at court especially, that could help you get some kind of understanding of how, what court decisions could be ruled, or what body of law do you need to refer to. Some of you guys, this involves a big legal issue because someone got unsecured or created a safety issue because of your because of your money and your belongings. Maybe, this is Thomasina or somebody like that. They broke an entering, something like that. They broke an entering. Looking for security, and it's like as soon as they see your skin color or your body, you become a target for security. That's the safety issue that got you pissed. This is the Rosalind biodefense that we are very defensive about, actually, right? Some of you guys will usually be an extrovert, or you could have these moments of, talking and chatting up with people, right? But I think that they see a very different side of you when they see you talking to somebody outside of your culture, okay? This is, I don't know why this is coming up, but it just came to my mind. I feel like, especially with this dynamic energy coming out, it's like the way that these people from your ancestry and cultural group, where you come from, the way that they put their reality together is making you disgusted a bit. It can make you feel disgusted. It can make you feel unsafe, right? And it can feel kind of familiar, but it could also feel very new to you as well, because it is new. It's not like some of you, it's not that it's, oh, I'm rejecting where I come from, or that I don't want to be around where I come from. It's that I haven't been around this, or I haven't had this depth of perspective that I have now. Now that I have all this security and boundaries and safe relationships with people outside of my group, I have a totally different perspective about my group, or about, similar circumstances that you are, it feels like you can be encountering them for the first time. Some of you, I don't know where you are. You could be traveling, or you could have been abroad for a long time, or you could have been away from home for a while. And there could have been something that brought you back to your home, brought you back to your group or something like that. And you have really been trying to juggle, shadow and light aspects here, what you perceive as positive and negative, and how to really keep your reality intact and secure in this matter. Because when they see, some of them, they attack you for having unconventional relationships, right? Especially when they see you wearing red, or they see you talking about something political. They could see you with a dry sense of humor. And like I said, your perspective is so deep now that you've grown up and moved away from ancestral problems, and have learned about your material possessions, have learned about your, have obtained security in some type of way. But most importantly, I think that your money manifestation, your spiritual gift for making money, is to put up boundaries with these people from your ancestry and family. Those are actually your worst enemies, especially siblings who saw you as a privilege, a body image privilege in some type of way. It can be really, really hard to do something profitable with people from your cultural group. Okay, I'm not going to say that your symmetrical relationships are all peaches and cream. It's strawberries and cream, but it's definitely not peaches and cream. So there's a lot of problems with the way that they see you interacting with people that are not them, and they get a totally different version of you. They see that you put up a lot of stronger boundaries, or you're a lot more light to them. You know what I'm saying? Something where you're light skinned to them, or something like, you're like, what? You're like, okay. Like, I don't know about all that. We just the honey whale. We ain't got, I don't know what you're talking about, friend. And then we have what's the honest truth. Okay. So, yeah, and I think that that's the hard part. And I'm sorry if I've been jumbled a little bit, but this topic, I do have a sexual trauma in my family and have dealt with a lot of family violence. So, don't think that I'm here talking from like a place of high and mighty. I actually have gone through this same security issue with my family. And, before I had boundaries and safety and support, I had a family that was attacking my romantic partners and my wealth and my friends, right? And those were hard lessons I had to learn about boundaries with my own ancestry. And it's not that you value other racial groups more or other dynamics more. I think that you just, they have a lot more healthy boundaries, or they're a lot more culturally sensitive and aware. It's like they at least, like, even if they hold some type of bigoted prejudice, at least they are just like quiet about it. You know what I'm saying? At least they don't, at least they're a lot more respectful about it. And I think that some of y'all, through this period of you honing yourself and growing up, you just have moved very far away from your ancestral dynamics, and the reality that they make up is very different than the reality that you make up. So when they see your security, they immediately project that it's about your skin color. Oh, it wasn't that you went to school for 20 years. Oh, it wasn't that you really, studied this thing for 20 years, or that you cried in your math class, right? Like, it wasn't because you did all that, right? It was because of your light skin, right? And in the meantime, in between time, they still have a second grade reading level and cannot read and write. So it's extremely burdensome. And so the conversations and dynamics are very different. And I think I think that what's happening in this situation is that, like, you have this perspective about, like, your past mistakes as well. Like, that, like, you could even have debt, right? With this bad debt energy coming out. And, people would just keep projecting onto you as having, like, this financial freedom and privilege. Like, it just be this wild, unbeknownst thing. Like, there was literally a security breach on my bargain basement home when I was sitting up there with, $50,000 of debt that I could barely breathe. Like, I might be making a high income at my corporate job every month, but within 3 days, my check is gone, paying bills, right? So stop projecting onto someone who has, that seemingly has security. They could, some of y'all are really up to the wazoo in bad debt. You know what I'm saying? Like, bad investments, credit card bills, shopping expenses. Some of you guys actually took out credit cards for your family, lines of credit for family, letting people sign onto your credit and stuff like that. All these family relationships, needing money and projecting some type of privilege in the family as the reason as to why you have the security and why they don't. The reason that you don't have security is because you was too busy sucking dick, and I was trying to learn something. Right? I was trying to learn the common law and the debt, right? And I think that these relationships that keep reflecting back to you, this conventional problem that you're having with your ancestry, where there becomes a fight for resources, or it becomes a safety issue around you and your resources, it forces you to learn the law, friend. It forces you to actually refer to the body of law when speaking to people, even family. Like, be firm, be decisive, and be savage with it as well, right? Because these people, they come from similar circumstances as you, but keep making it seem like you have some type of advantage as to why you were able to, like, transcend the circumstances, right? And I think that they just followed you a lot. A lot of these people follow you around, so this is scary. Like, the Mexicans and the black people will literally start following you around. And it's like they don't have boundaries or don't know the law. And you're like, I'm going to, like, something where you, in this next cycle to get into alignment, is to learn more about the common law so that you can protect your security, friend. Because you're literally having your light, or you're literally, you have nice things, and that is a dangerous security issue for people, because they can't change their skin. They can't change their ugly ass face. They can't change where they come from, and neither can you. So having a symmetrical relationship and going off and having a ball with your, unconventional dynamics doesn't mean that you hate yourself or where you come from. It just means that those are the people that you can have a safer relationship with. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, let's wrap, friends. Okay, so I think that usually you probably would be very extroverted and very outgoing or talkative, but people start following you around, friend, like strangers on the street, literally see your skin or see your possessions. They start honking their car, like this is literally happening to buku women on the street, like where cars are just like honking at them, circling the block 3 and 4 times, trying to like get a woman's attention, circling the schools, honking out of their, Amazon vehicles, at people on the street, pedestrians, civilians, and you're supposed to like be working your job, and instead you're like harassing a woman on the street for having a nice dress and a handbag on. That's weird. Stop. Like, and these are like, of course, the delivery man is the immigrant and the Negro who can't read, right? So this is the difficult place that you're in, right? And when they see you engaging with your unconventional relationships, they see you as a bright star. They see, oh, you have the communication skills to talk to the dominant culture. Oh, you have a privilege. Oh, they're only talking to her because she's light skinned. No, they're talking to her because she can talk. I'm confused. Like, most of the time, the dangerous projection that a white person or a dominant culture could have is that you are just like the rest of them, right? Whereas your people from where you come from, they might project onto an ancestral project an ancestral problem or pattern about why you could be looking nice or having a good experience. But in the dominant culture, they're looking at you, nigga. Excuse me, let me just calm down. Sorry. And say they're looking at y'all like y'all all dumb, or they could be very surprised and delighted that you have a self-expression, that you have addressed your personal freedom to express, right? They actually delight in sharing with you. They delight in discussing with you. They delight in experiencing you, and you as well. But when you talk to people from your ancestry and family or kin, it just feels forced. It feels like it's just like there's always this unstable conversation or dynamic where you're just having to juggle their shadow aspect, or put up a lot of boundaries, or they start following you around or putting you in a situation that you don't consent to, right? So this is the symmetry, friend. It's like I'm not gonna be guilt tripped, and because I have an unconventional relationship. They don't choose me because I'm light. They chose me because I have my own self-expression, right? So I think that there could be some shadow sides of wealth and the media, how your cultural group reflects and how they made certain decisions that are HIPAA protected that create a dangerous illusion within society. But we're not going to talk about that. We only talking for clarity, right? Well, here's the clarity. We don't want to hang out with the dumb niggas. Sorry. They get very mad when they see you. You might reject them, and then they see you blossom and open up to somebody else. Like, they be like, oh, it's because they're light, right? And it probably, you probably will be better off choosing something light too, friend, okay? Because you will run, I hate to say this, in the 21st century or the 22nd century. I'm already in 22nd century, okay? Is that they are really they're still under this pattern, and they are highly likely to steal things from you and start fights because they're not, their reality, the dynamic that you're like, the way they're engaging in the dynamic, their reality is made up of it includes an illusion about your skin and your security. So this is why it has been unsafe. And to be in a very long-winded way, friend, I think that to get into more alignment is to make yourself more aware of precedents around your own personal legal issues that you could be having, but also referring to the body of law when discussing with your kin and ancestry. Just be very direct, firm boundaries, and that can also be offensive too, but it shuts down any kind of room for interpretation. There's no room for interpretation around the common law. If you keep harassing me, I'm going to call the police. Like, I'm sorry, please stop. Like, this is literally out of control with the like black people and the Mexicans. Okay, so like y'all, they just become obsessed with your security, right? And they keep projecting something brown, like, oh, this brown girl is shaking the table. Like, stop. That's so weird. Like, this is mental illness. And so, like, don't get mad when I don't want to talk to you. And then it's a lot of y'all, sometimes your security, another aspect of this safety is like, they stank and they just are not clean. Okay, like I said, some of y'all come from the same dirty ass places that they come from. Okay, but your perspective about safety, support, and boundaries have changed over time, and you have been very far removed. A lot of y'all have been very far removed from this ancestry. Okay, even if you're mixed, right, you still got some of that, you know, disproportionate disadvantage in you. Okay, so I think that like a lot of your relationships from your family, oh, that's why I was going earlier, a lot of your relationships from your family have been so totally unsafe, and because your family has literally been attacking you for your, like, for security, like your like sisters and brothers, they're literally attacking, right? Making up stories, struggling for power. Some of them did. There was a inappropriate sexual behavior, childhood developmental trauma with these family members. So that's really, really unsafe, really, really unsecured, right? Not security whatsoever with these black people. Okay, they will not be profitable in business. Okay, if you're trying to have a beautiful happily ever after with a black man, no, that's a cheater. You ain't gonna be happy. They secretly wish that they can go find something light too. Okay, they looking for security too. They looking for a new opportunity to level up too. They looking for an aesthetic form of label too. Whoa, right? And I think that, like, what's the honest truth, y'all? Your family has put up a major illusion. I don't know, your family or some people where you come from, you're like, the truth is very distorted, okay? And I think that the more you put boundaries with your family, the more you can kind of understand where they have been exploiting them, right? Where they have benefited from you not having any previously, right? And I think that you've handled this family situation with a lot of grace, okay? Yeah. Spooky. This is actually like overwhelming me. Like, I think my heart chakra is like really, like, I can barely breathe talking about this, y'all, because it is actually like there's a lot of truth distorted here, okay? And also, like, I'm not gonna say your relationships, your symmetrical relationships are perfect, right? There's shadow there too, right? But it doesn't have to be unsafe. I think that they provide receipts, they provide security. A lot of them, they come in with wealth, okay, at the door, or they come in with a safe, like, they come in with the common law, friend. Actually, they inform you about the common law, friend. And so I think that they always offer you support. And there's no expectation of marriage or happily ever after. There's no expectation that they'll leave their white family or that they'll leave, you know what I'm saying? There's no expectation of that. But when they come in and offer you support, that puts a very, very strong difference between where you come from, where all they've done is try to undermine your security. Okay? So it'll be okay, friends, because some of you guys, the hard part about moving into the dominant culture is that you don't have any family. Some of you guys were adopted, okay? And so, you know, you've been with your family, you know, if you were adopted as a little, you know, little immigrant child or something like that, you were very cherished, you know, like Angelina Jolie and all her kids traveling the world. Like, some of you guys may have had a big, cute family like that. And, you know, people, you know, you might have had this very privileged, well-cultured life, and then you might be put in a different circumstance or a different situation where you have to address not having, like, where that security is not represented in people who have a different reality than you. Like, their image of security for someone like you is tainted and scary, which makes it unsafe. So does that make sense? Okay. And I think that in this cycle, you are getting, you're kind of breaking down a lot of these different dynamics where you lost security, and it was because they were envious of your joy, okay, and projected onto your security, okay. So that's the truth you're getting. And the more, and how you protect yourself, is by reminding them, referring to the body of law. You run up, you get done up. It ain't none of that. All right, don't come up, don't touch me. Don't touch my belongings. Some of these people, they just come around looking for stuff, trying to use and abuse. But some relationships come around and they're a real supportive friend, and you cannot deny, when they bring you them bands and things of that nature. You're like, oh, that's just their white ego feeling guilty, right? Okay, like maybe, right? But most of the time you show them an expression that they really, really value, and you value them as well. You have a good time with your unconventional relationships, but you might struggle to believe what is true. But either way, I think that becoming sovereign and independent means that you are comfortable. I think that you become an extrovert because you have so many strong boundaries now. Like you're literally chatting up people. I see you, the alignment is around this rewards and recognition, or this money manifestations, is you becoming an extrovert and you getting honored for being a star, but with boundaries, friend, with safety, support, and boundaries, right? That's the lesson around security and that you've learned as a karmic challenge, as a South Node transitionary challenge, right? With where you come from, okay? And you might have been so sad and isolated for periods and be like, oh wow, now I'm all extroverted and stuff like that. And it's because some of you, your dominant friends from your dominant culture came around and made you feel right at home and made you feel welcome and said, yes, absolutely, right? So you might be wondering if some of them are false or plastic. Of course, some of them are false and plastic, but that's black people too, right? So don't typecast people into color categories. Meet them with boundaries, the common law, and your personal values, and let people reflect back to you what they value, okay? So let's wrap, friends. That's the truth, and I think that's what you're moving into, okay? With the Three of Swords, the Five of Wands, and then the Ten of Pentacles. Yeah, okay. This Three of Swords, this kind of goes to this is funny because this energy came up when I was talking to Grok earlier. So I was chatting with Grok. The Three of Swords, it gave an interpretation of the Three of Swords that I hadn't heard before. It was kind of like somebody from your past with the Three of Swords. And honestly, this Five of Wands energy is somebody from the past. And I remember, this could be your sister, your family members, but these people, you were disillusioned with them because they undermine your security, okay? With the Ten of Pentacles, somebody from your past is heartbroken that somebody just gave you everything, okay? They were totally disillusioned. Some of you were met with there was an ancestral pattern with close siblings or friends and romantic partners where they actually destroyed domestic bliss. They could have torn homes apart. They could have torn financial opportunities away from you, gifts, right? And the crazy part about this now is that these people, your new relationships and how you've evolved and are getting in alignment, you are not having that problem. These people, they keep their money intact. Okay. They keep their money intact, right? So the truth is, if you're like anyone that you have security with, that's definitely fine, right? That's true. If they gave you money, they had good intentions, okay? But like I said, there's an ancestral patterning with the people around you that, especially like somebody from your past, that when they saw this could have disillusioned you with romantic partners that you had within your cultural group, within your group in general, or this is literally a family member that gets disillusioned because your security and your like achievements make them look like just common, and make them look very, it highlights the fact that they have bad debt. It highlights the fact that they are, it highlights the fact that they were, that they were projecting onto you for being light, right? And I think that this next cycle, you might do a lot of disillusioning, okay? And this will be breaking your heart, because with the Five of Wands, the deep, like, this kind of goes hand in hand with the dynamic, right? Stop projecting onto people who have light skin, right? Even if you're a light skinned black person, like, you can literally be pretty much, vanilla. And if you still got that Negro hair, friend, they still gonna put you on the color side. Alright? So the crazy part about this is that, like, with the Five of Wands, there's like a dynamic that is like, it's a different frequency. So I'm not gonna say that there's not resistance, because they have a different frequency, or they have a different origin, and so they might have competing desires, competing securities, okay? But I think that this person is like, this is highlights, a dynamic from your past versus this new dynamic, right? They might come from a different origin, but they did not get unsecured. You know what I'm saying? They kept their domestic bliss with you. You know what I'm saying? LOL. Some of y'all, they gave you everything. LOL. And this is breaking your family's heart. They're watching you move into this. They want you to stay because they see you got money now. But some of y'all, you're leaving this family, okay, and doing something completely new. But I think that you handle this family situation with grace. I think it's heartbreaking because you have to talk to your family, okay, or you have to, maybe you do maintain your financial security with your family, but I think that there could be resistance there. There could be, bad D that, started to have sex with your sisters or something like that. And some of you guys, if you had a strange relationship with your sister, then there was definitely like a weird incest thing going on there, right? And I think that these family members, with this security that you keep obtaining and getting in alignment with, it keeps disillusioning this family member that has been, in a, like, that has had a paternal attachment issue with you because you were considered the light child or something like that, or the favorite child, or something that they perceived you to have a privilege around, okay, as to why you have more security. Whatever narrative they've been telling themselves, they're actually, what's helping you get into alignment to maintain your security with your family, is that we disillusion that narrative, okay, as being, we disillusion that narrative as being something superficial and fake, right? And so, you guys, the truth will come out here about your family. There could be a Leo in the family, or this could be a Leo man that was in the family. They did something weird and ancestral, okay? Some of them, you started to get the ick, or they started to have multiple sexual partners unprotected. Some of them, they slept with your sister or your cousin, someone in the immediate family. There was just a lot happened here where your family started to undermine your security, even romantic partners from your ancestry. And so some of you guys are totally leaving the group because it gave you the ick, and now you no longer want anything to do with your family. But I think at the very least, you guys will have domestic bliss together, but like sharing homes and linking up and chatting, I think that some of that is, you just have to refer them to a body of law about something, and it kind of, like, once you have to, like, address them as a criminal, that's when everybody gets disillusioned, okay? Thank you so much, group 2. Let me know how this alignment goes for you. They're disillusioned that you become rich as fuck anyway. No matter what they try to do to attack your security, they literally haul off into a brawl fighting you for your money and your light skin, okay? Thank you so much, you guys. Let me know how that resonates, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Hi, group 3. Welcome to your selection. So you chose this disco ball with a cowboy hat on it. So let's read your question. Okay, the mystery question. Today's topic is supposed to be about your spiritual gifts to make money. But your specific question is, what repeated pattern is shaping your economic future? And what repeated pattern is shaping your economic future without you noticing it yet? What's the repeated pattern that's that you're not noticing? Okay, so it's kind of flew out. This has come up on the channel recently, in the Who is Secretly Watching You video, like group 2, I believe. Group 3. What repeating pattern is stopping you? Okay, that you're not realizing. Decision intelligence. LOL. Artificial intelligence. Social media influencer. Okay. Interesting lineup. So, group 3. Some of you guys, when you became a social media influencer, you started to get surveillanced. Okay. This could literally be someone in authority that you haven't noticed yet. It feels like something where when you became a social media influencer, you became a target. And I think that you didn't have enough decision intelligence probably when you first started as a social media influencing. And so there could definitely be a pattern around your social media that you have not fully acknowledged yet. And it's because a lot of it is above your authority. But I think that you are starting to manage your social media, and you're starting to provide a framework for your best practices in your organization. I think that this involves you kind of questioning a lot of different assumptions, or questioning people that mimic you. And I think, especially as a social media influencer, you might not have, when you first started, you might not have fully understood why they were deciding to copy you, or why they were deciding to why they were copying you. Or you kind of learn, you discern a hidden motivation around your social media account. I think that this is the pattern that you're not acknowledging. That something that could be impacting your decision making. And I think that you have, with this artificial intelligence, you have been able to improve how you perform around your social media, for sure. So I think the problem with the social media is an age difference. Some of you guys, you are a little bit older on social media, or your approach to social media, it might attract a lot of kids, and they might make the mistake of thinking that you're a child on social media because you look very young. Some of you guys, you look very young, or you're doing something targeting young people or youth. And whatever it is, it's attracting them, right? It's social media influencing. But I think that, like, there are a lot of social media influencers that start when they're children, or they start when they don't have a full amount of intelligence about something. And I think that that could be the danger of, you know, or not. I'm not gonna say a danger, but it could be the risk that is involved with social media influencing that you're not even aware of. Putting your life on social media puts you in a grave risk, actually. And some of you guys, it puts you at risk, and that you did not, maybe you had, it put you at risk because they started surveillancing you, some of them. Um, Even if these are just other social media influencers, they could have started watching everything that you're doing. And I think that because your age, like, I think that, I don't want to be ageist, but I think that your age group definitely plays a role in how you engage on social media. Or maybe you're not so, you haven't been around on social media doing the same things that they have, okay? Especially because a lot of them are a lot younger than you, and so they have a lot of time on their hands um, to do some kind of media marketing, or um, endorse a product, or build or create a product. Um, and I think that the pattern that you're not noticing yet is that these a lot of these systems are artificial. Um, and I think that when you adjust your expectations of what's going on here, you'll start to understand why these people have been copying you, because they're artificial, right? Intelligence. These people are not. They're on social media on a social media account to, fight for followers, and to um, attract as many followers as they possibly can. So they surveillance each other. So I think that what the pattern that you weren't noticing is why people are all dressed up as one another, okay? Or, how, I think that you're starting to finally understand, especially if you're older. You guys are finally, you guys are finally starting to understand, like, um, this social media virality and trend setting, and what kind of impact that may have, and what kind of consequences that may have, and where where to refer to, or something like that. Okay. So let's get more of them. Let's see, group. Sorry, group three. What is what is it? What repeated pattern is shaping your economic future? There are definitely repeated patterns around your social media account, okay? I think that, something that you could be doing on your social media account could be giving away your strategy, or it could be giving away, it could be giving away how you make decisions, I think. Some of you guys, once you switch to artificial intelligence, it, I think that this is actually helping you address a pattern that has been looping, or something that has been impacting your economic future. And these people who, like, I just call it stealing, right? Things on your social media account are very organized, especially because a lot of you guys are older, and so people, these younger social media influencers might come around and make the mistake that you are younger than them, or that you're the same age, or you're younger than them, or they see how organized it is, or see how endowed it is. Some of you guys, your social media account is endorsed, or it is like a complex set of systems and machines that have actually just, like, really helped you improve a lot and establish best practices. But I think that, this is the pattern. It is actually getting acknowledged, because I think that maybe there was something where you you organize your social media in a particular way, and this could have gave people insights about to how to reach an expert level. Some of them, they don't have enough intelligence to reach an expert level. There's nothing that they can do about it. Something where they don't know how to make their decision intelligence is not as good. Okay. And but I think that, like, what the challenge that you can be having on social media is where people try to steal your framework. Okay. They'll try to steal your model. Okay. We have soul time. Interesting. This social media account, some people, a new reality emerged on your social media account, y'all. I think that the pattern is when you realized, like when you, after spending soul time, your soul was limitless, because it feels like these people try to steal, like surveillance, and use artificial intelligence to steal your framework for how to become limitless. LOL. They knew that you had the framework to become limitless, or they knew that you had the framework to you have a timeless framework, a classic framework, and it's the framework that you use actually led to like a new reality emerging for you, and only the people who surveillance you and audio and video surveillance you know what happens behind the scenes. Only they know how savage this AI has been, how it has been used in your organization fully, right? And so the pattern that you're having, that you're not noticing yet, is that you're working with a complex machine as a social media influencer, and the possibility is infinite. Do not put any restriction on how many followers you can have, how many you can gain, how big how big this framework how big it could get. And a lot of you guys, the kids on your social media account, it's a big difference. And I think that this is how you can also, like, the pattern that you're not noticing is that a lot of these people are kids, or they're not experts, and so you have a very different social media presence and framework than the people who don't, right? And so if they steal your framework, or they're copying your organization, the way that it looks and engages on a social media platform, just know that your framework is savaging, and they saw a lot of deep value in it, and they started to copy it. But a lot of times that means that they're not an expert, and they're not going to be considered, like, they're not going to be considered expert, right? And it's very clear sometimes, and other times though, the pattern that you're not noticing could be that a lot of these people are not experts, right? You see them doing something similar or copying. That's the very opposite of people who can make their own decisions, right? They need to apply your theories to make a decision. So that means that they're not competition. They're just children or something like that, okay? Okay, this is kind of complicated. Power 3. Square. Yeah, I think that a lot of times they try to challenge, right? They try to challenge the framework, right? And it is not, it's not at all a real conflict, okay? Some of them, they try to challenge you because they're shaped like a square. And so they're trying to prove the hardware friend. They're trying to prove that they get hardware. They're trying to prove that they some of them, they're trying to prove that they can be disciplined. But I'm getting before friends, it's like there's something where these people do not have enough of their own like best practices for their organization. So every time they try to like look disciplined or try to do something, it's always a mimic. So it's that's the pattern that you're not noticing, is that like these people, they're not a threat to you. Okay, they want to look like you. Okay, and it might show up as, when they show up looking like you, they don't actually admit to themselves. This is the pattern that they're not noticing, is that they're not actually admitting to themselves that they took this framework from someone else, or that they needed a lot of support to create. You know what I'm saying? They were not an artist. They did not have fluid movement. They had really, really bad movement, actually. They had really bad feet. They didn't know what to do, right? They didn't have the correct intelligence. And some of you guys have been dealing with a super artificial intelligence, a cosmic intelligence, and your decisions that you've made around your social media make them look like birds. Okay. And so I think that the pattern that you're not noticing that's impacting your economic future is, do not get distracted by these birds. Okay. A lot of you guys have made it to your expert or pro level, so your social media account is not going to look like this hustling and bustling metropolis of a 19-year-old that's been on social media since they were 9 years old. So just remember that a lot of these people, you're already, some of you literally have already reached the system that helps you engineer, and so you don't have to worry about anybody trying to steal credit, or them raising themselves into an authority position with your framework, because your system is already supported a lot, right? A lot of you guys are endorsed, and you have like top collaborators, and so any other framework or adaptation or variation of your framework is just somebody who cheats their way through life, and they will only, because you're already endorsed and already have like an upper echelon position. Some of you guys are literally upper echelon, right? And so this feels like people who just want to be a part of your inner circle really bad. They want to be a part of the elite clique really, really bad. They want to be flexible really, really bad, but they actually just look like, they just look like the, hundreds of millions of accounts that do the same things, right? So, group 3. Okay, that's interesting. That came out in the last group. I'm going to get 2. What does your soul say? Okay. I think that when they come to your social media account, friend, these people are in a lot of chaos. They see your endorsements, or they see that your marketing is very sold up, and they make this mistake of, they I don't know, they see it and they automatically know that you're the lead dog, right? You're the lead doggy, friend. And so they start to challenge, or they do something to create disharmony by copying your framework or something like that. It's really a challenge against you. Some of you guys, if you're wearing pink on your social media account, and if you are a person of color, like Otro Rosaline, then you most definitely get a lot of hate. So when they see you wearing pink, they immediately started surveillancing you, okay? Or when you could have started doing something spiritual, and they immediately started surveillancing you, okay? I think that, they're just like, there's a lot of moving parts here, friends. I think that the biggest takeaway from what is going on in this matter is that this is a social media account. You're known as an expert. You're endorsed, and arguing with people who just adapt your framework is not a behavior that you need to, like, it's not something that you need to do. I also think that some of these people, if they're using an artificial intelligence, some of them, they literally, it's all in disingenuine. It's like every single decision that you make or pivot around your social media account, it's actually getting copied by people. Okay, so they try to, like, the thing is, it's weird because they copy you, and then they say they don't like you, right? And you're just like, how you don't like me, but try to do everything like me. Now that is what gets me. It's funny. So it's not really clear exactly what pattern you're displaying. I think that your pattern could be you getting more observation or getting awareness. That your social media is infinite. So there's like, every time they try to steal a framework or a theory, you just expand beyond that moment, right? Especially because they're kids, Y'all, please. A lot of them are kids or really, really underdeveloped people. And so the challenge that they're doing, the challenge in disharmonious square, some of them could be square bodies. But I think that try to talk about more of your, like, if you're fluid within your sexuality. I think that sometimes they can be risky, but depending on where you are and what you how open you want to be, I think that sometimes benefit, like, it can be a benefit. It can disarm people, especially like women of color, when they feel like you're a challenge in a way. And then you might do something to tell them, like, hey, that's just like some kind of karmic challenge that I've been having. I know I might look 21, but I'm really 45 years old. Like something. Like some of you guys, you really look 20 years old, or you really, people have run this mistake of thinking that you're, like, thinking that, not knowing that you're an expert, or not knowing that you're fluid, not knowing that you are, like, endorsed in this way. And so the challenge that they like, the challenge is just like, it just creates this harmony. It doesn't really accomplish anything. Because some of them, they just don't know how to use this intelligence, because it involves a lot of theories. For one, it's not like you can use the artificial intelligence, and it will relatively improve you, okay, based on information that it collects. But there's another, like, to implement it, okay, I don't know, it's something like where to implement it or to really apply the intelligence. It just feels like they don't understand enough theories, and a lot of these theories come from your early education. So some of you are like, oh my god, it's my early education that makes me successful, or something, like, that makes people mad or something. I think that you are a big green heart, and I think that you have a big open heart. And so this is definitely a pattern that you have been noticing, is that you're coming to this social media account not as a copycat trendsetter or someone that just follows every trend that exists, but you are a maven, someone who's educated and an expert. You know what I'm saying? You're coming to this, situation with a lot of, like, executive power, a lot of theory that you have studied throughout your lifetime. Okay, so I'm not gonna say that it's a privilege, but I will say it is. It's related to how you. It's related, like, it's your theories help you place your products. They help you. They help you get endorsed as well, because it's rooted in intelligence. It's like your theories show, like, it's like a purported amount of knowledge, friend. Okay, and it's just like these children, they get unhinged and try to challenge, like, expert intelligence, like something. Y'all, these people, they make a big misstep when they try to challenge this, when they try to challenge this super intelligence. Like, don't try to argue with that AI machine, friend. You're like, you're gonna get fucked up. So, you are very, very sharp, friend. So when you see people trying to like copy the framework and they're trying to, but it's really a challenging of something that doesn't follow a technical theory, it's actually hilarious. And like I said, investors and shareholders, they're clearly not going to buy into some child, juggling a shadow aspect, right? Surveillancing you, to try to discern how to make decisions, because it's truly lacking the theory, it's truly lacking the knowledge, you know what I'm saying, that actually led to the influence. I think that's the dangerous pattern around social media, is that there are people, these influencers, some of them, a lot of them don't really have a skill. They're all gurus. They're all, they all got a master class. They all, look hardworking, or they all look, there's a lot of illusions, getting transmitted through these short form video contents, like, of good habits, that they're organized, smart people. Right? And then when they come across your social media and you have this organized framework that reflects the intelligence and the skill applied many times and over many cycles, it disillusions them with themselves and makes them feel threatened, because you are clearly like an authority or an expert. They can't handle it, right? So, if you see people trying to challenge or doing something disharmonious, it's because you provided some technical theory or some super intelligence that was savage like, that they can't really, like, they can't really find a discipline that, like, they can't really find a discipline that rejects your intelligence. It just feels like you're very augmented. You have a lot of like data augments with scientific theories, right? A lot of this, it could even be applied mathematics and applied economics, and a lot of deep, That's a lot of deep theories that influence people with the truth, not just some trend that they followed and something kind of watered down and diluted. You are literally, I think the pattern around your social media is that you don't convert people by doing something mortal. I think that you convert people by providing them with an intelligence that cannot be refuted. And that will feel challenging, or it feels artificial. It feels, like some of them, they can say you're fake, or that you're being fake, or something like that, when you're really just a professional expert. That you're like, we're not going to sit here theorizing and philosophizing about life, something where you're like, look, it's like something where they see you sticking to the validity of things, and they say that that's superficial and fake, and because it's an intelligence, a theory, something technical that they cannot refute. Okay. I think a lot of them actually want to embrace you. I think, their actual feelings for you, their behavior does not match their intentions. I think their intentions is to come around and get intelligence, right? And they really are influenced by you if they felt the need to challenge, right? It's like something where they'll see your content, and then they're thinking and ruminating and thinking about how they can create a whole, it takes a lot of work to make social media content. So if people are making content about you, that means that you really have influenced them in a deep way. And it's not because you were a trend following some philosophy that doesn't have a technical theory. When they meet you, they feel like they're meeting something superficial and immortal. And that a lot of people project onto this sewed up intelligence, friend. You're just, your social media influencing page is just very well organized, okay? And that's challenging to people, especially children who have a problem with authority, okay? Yeah, the devil, friend. Have a problem with authority, feel pain and shame from watching your organization or your social media account. And it's like they're trying to be disharmonious, and some of y'all went to the intelligence and said, fight with that, fight with the computer, actually. Something like, you're like, look, some of them, because they were not, you were met with, like, I think the pattern is that you're just constantly met with people who do not have enough technical theory, and it's because they're on social media for aesthetics. You come around with this education and, expert level knowledge is a few, that's a smaller group, friend, okay, on social media. And so you're easily targeted for surveillance because you have this immortal machine like intelligence on your side where it anchors you to the truth. We're not going to even play. We're going to go straight to the tech guy and say, hey, Fran, what's the truth? Go ahead and perform the lie detector test. Go ahead and surveillance the accounts. Let's get down. Some of you guys are getting down to the bottom of something. And this could have been a negative pattern on your social media account. Could have been somebody stalking you, and it led to a whole investigation probably. Okay, because or it's just like, people started surveillancing you because they can't believe how organized it is. And that's spooky too. Like, don't look at me and be like, oh, you're suspiciously competent and you look too organized over there. Like, what? Like that. I think that's scary too. But a lot of times it's just children, okay? They're not actually a threat to you, but they feel threatened. And so I think the harsh classes divide is when people who are not organized or don't have a framework that supports this like technical truth that we won't deviate from, they just start watching and surveillancing like the devil, okay? Some of them, they cannot accept it, or they cannot accept authority, okay? Or they feel too much pain and shame with your intelligence and theories and background information and background knowledge, right? They were just on social media for aesthetics, and then that was the authority previously. But you started dismantling or taking market power, or you just started influencing people with the right theories, with the right intelligence, with the truth. Especially if this is like tarot reading or something like that. Obviously Felicia Latrice Tarot brought artificial intelligence to tarot, and there's no more misuse of a spiritual practice. There's no more woo-woo crack magic. There's no more you getting mad because you heard about your root chakra and got mad. Something where we're not going to keep getting mad about intelligence. Stop rejecting a structured and ordered life. Stop rejecting an authority that is trying to anchor you to the truth. Stick to the validity of things. And I think that this is the pattern that you can be struggling with on this social media account, because there's so many like lies and fitness. There's so many lies on social media just to have this aesthetic, right? It can look very luxurious, okay? And luxury does start with influence, but not everybody should be influencing us. Group 2, okay, group 3. So yeah, judgment. I think that they'll stop being disharmonious, but they won't stop. They'll just be a codependency on your framework, right? People who constantly need clarity because they came to your social media account and got disappointed, y'all. Okay, I think that they do peacefully resolve their conflict with you, but they just linger around as a codependency. And they just really need to understand how to organize themselves. But there's a complex system and technique that you're using now, and some of you, the pattern before it was like it gave away your strategy a lot more, right? And I think that now you're moving into after getting a higher learning with this judgment energy. It definitely feels like you've relatively improved yourself. So they're like, the way that you organize yourself is a lot more it's structured still, but it's not something that they can easily follow, because it's rooted in deep technical theory. where they just didn't have enough background knowledge. I'm not going to say that they're not capable, but there are codependency. They don't know how to do anything on them for themselves, and even with the super intelligence, they still don't have enough theory to get supported by the super intelligence the way that you are. And so they look very LOL friend, they looking real sad over there. It's just like, watching your social media be so, flourishing so much. And they literally, a lot of them literally watch a new reality emerge for you. Okay. From since becoming a social media influencer, your social media is your economic future. Okay. This is what we've all been waiting for, honestly. This organization, this framework, and this technical legal theory is some of you guys, this is a highly endorsed and highly endowed social media account, and it makes them feel so disappointed that they felt like they were not intelligent enough to have these kind of timeless aesthetics the way that you do. Okay, they're not timeless, they're actually very played out. Okay, they're not interesting to watch. They're actually very boring and mundane to watch. They're not organized, and they did not know how to reconcile and consolidate their financial reports. That means that they actually don't work in STEM. They're actually not science, technology, engineering, and math. They actually weren't a perfect crime. They actually weren't smart enough. So, LOL. I think that's something that you do to collect them. And you let them, some of you made some challengers a part of your social media organization, or you made them a part of the organization that reduced their existence. Like something where you really, these could have even been incumbents, or they could have been people who previously held, so the social media influence, they might have gone viral in the past, or they might have held in the niche before, but it was not intelligent. Okay, it was not organized. They were not competent and skilled enough. They were not organized or had a system. So they just ended up being codependencies of people who were just there. You know what I'm saying? They're just a new useless social class that doesn't really add value. They just play video games on a social media account for aesthetics. Okay, LOL. So I think that you guys peacefully resolve. I don't think, it's because they don't have they can't keep philosophizing about things, Fran. And I think that you put people in a lot of deep introspection because you come across with a timeless aesthetic, and some of these people are young in their ages as well, right? Or some of them, they had a problem with you being in a similar age group. Like 3 to 4 years is not a significant age difference in the grander scope of life. Okay, life is a marathon, and when you get 30 years old, you no longer start worrying about like 2 and 3 year differences. You're not in high school, you're not in college, you're not separated by a class system. This is not grad season, this is literally just a life experience. And so you come across as very timeless, but they feel so the reason why they challenge, right, is because you're very involved or very endorsed, or you're literally just, you don't look your age, and they start getting tough and rough, right, when they see that you have this timeless aesthetic that draws children and adults, right? You don't go out of style, LOL. Especially if some of you guys are wearing pink. Pink does not go out of style. And so if they see you, you're older and stuff like that, you could be attracting the children, and that's what you want to attract ultimately. But some of these children are not, they're disharmonious, okay? They're disappointed, they're just codependent, and you're like, look, I don't got no fucking kids. Back up off of my tit, stop hanging off of it, and find your own marketing plan. And I think that how this pattern that is looping, this pattern that you haven't fully noticed, is that this person on social media, or people on social media, they don't fully understand the theory or the intelligence. Okay, So there's no competition, friend. This is not a tie. Okay, it's not a double header, friend. It's a social concern, a social consideration with people who are not intelligent enough. Okay? They are very disappointed, and and I think that you actually let them stay, or you let them, you let them have the framework, because you're something about you is very infinite and unlimited. And so the more you, like, every time they, try to knock something off or challenge with something they don't fully understand, it's just you being peaceful about their conflict. Like, you're because you're so hospitable as well, y'all. um when people enter your space, you're very hospitable about it, because otherwise you could be very introverted, or very, like, you could spend a lot of time by yourself with this soul time energy, focusing intently on your creative life. And these people, they are not creative and not intelligent. So don't even, there's no double header, there's no tie. There's just people who you have to kind of coddle them out of a irrational like an irrational challenge that they had, that they tried to fight for dominance, and created a lot of disharmony in the group, is what I'm hearing. Okay, and it's like there's no challenging when you're just always the one copying it. That means you don't really fully understand it. That means you're not really collaborating here. you know if you're copying it, that means that you're not collaborating here. You're just mirroring the organization and the media, right? um and this is why they look so disappointed, right? I think that you haven't really been fully tapped into the fact that people see you as like this immortal, timeless thing that's unbeatable and unfuckwittable, right? And they might have been incumbent, or they might have already, they've been the status quo. And I think that a lot of, fighting with them is pointless, because even if they were incumbent or status quo, they were not endorsed. That's my friend. They were not endorsed. You know what I'm saying? The gestures that are made towards you are the reality checks, right? And this is why they're the Five of Cups. It's because the reality check of the truth that they're just lacking. Keep philosophizing about things. They keep making, like, comments about a reality television show. They're lacking, they have a persistent negative thought pattern, on their social media account, that's just not technical. It shows that you're expert at social media. They show like something where it shows that you're expert at social media, or your marketing plan was like, it locked things in place. Something where they saw an integrated financial planning on your social media account, and it made them unhinged, friend. And it just keeps proving that they don't know social media, right? It keeps proving that they don't know how to code, right? They're not actually coding, they're just mimicking you. Okay. So please, like, this is not making sense. There's no fight, there's no the venue is the venue. The the organization, and it's something about your organization and your product placement and how well organized you are. They cannot keep up, because you were an expert coming, or you had a well thought out plan. You guys might have content calendars, you might have, a lot of deep intentions and, like, organization around your social media account. And I feel like this pattern is not necessarily your own problem or your fault. I think that it really just reflects, this is something that's reflecting back to you, or helping you understand a pattern of behavior around people on your social media account. Okay, them experiencing your social media account, and of course you're still hospitable and welcoming, but they come in with a challenge or something disharmonious, and it's not technical. It doesn't follow a logical sequence. It doesn't have a theory behind it. It's something that they knocked off, or it's something that they don't want to accept the super intelligent truth about. Okay, thank you so much, group 3. Let me know how this resonates, about how these patterns around your social media have been impacting your economic future. you know, you definitely have codependents of people who just like they want to be a part of your economy really bad, but they're not considered the experts, or and they don't get endorsed. Okay. So, you know, if they try to steal products, or if they try to steal the way something is aesthetically placed, and like if they mimic the social media whatsoever, friend, they're not an expert. That means that they're not a value partner. Okay, I love you so much. Let me know how this resonates in the comments, and I'll see you guys on the next money manifestations. Hi, group 4. Last but not least, I don't know if this peace sign is supposed to be up or down, but we're gonna pretend whatever it's right. I don't have time to be checking. Okay, group 4. What blocked or delayed financial flow? This is all about your spiritual gifts for making money. And this is my new deck. It's not new, but it's reconstructed. Okay. So let's get into it, friends. About your money manifestations, welcome to the biannual report. Okay. Okay. That last group kind of threw me for a loop. A Waterloo. I don't know what's going on, but something about somebody has your back. Okay. There's like somebody has your back in this situation. You have like some of you call this person your guardian angel, or this person has been supporting you and making money flow to you and for you, and they're like an ally. Okay. So for you know, some of you guys, your financial flow, a gift that you're receiving the gift of financial flow. So what was previously blocked and delayed is actually getting resolved by someone else or something else. Okay. Group 4. So let's pull a few. That's crazy because they came out in group 3. Budgeting and planning. They kind of some similar messages. Yeah, perfect crime. LOL. What was I talking about in group 1? Okay, you guys definitely should go watch group 1. And then we have the biologists. LOL. Some of you guys, if you know biology, you definitely know how to get away with crime. And I don't think that, like, I don't want to scare anybody in collective. I hope you guys aren't, like, harming your biology or someone else's. But I think that the way that you have an advanced knowledge, okay? And your budgeting, planning, and your understanding of biology helps you commit crimes perfectly, okay? And a lot of you guys have, like, this sounds so bad. Like, some of you guys, I just think that, like, you could be pardoned or, like, granted immunity in your government. But I think that, like, I don't think that there's a big delay around your financial flow. I think that you're dealing with more, you could be dealing with more, this feels just like it's a process, okay? And that it is aligned through a specific time frame, okay? Group 4. Okay. Yeah, this ally or this you getting away with something was a perfect crime. Okay, it was a miracle. Something that happened where you got off scot-free. You LOL, or you received this perfect ally to help you go study study biology or help you budget and plan. Okay. Group 4. Some of you guys, this is crazy because some of you guys, if you committed crime in this situation, maybe it was to try to bust somebody else for a crime, and this is going to be really bad. If somebody we're still discerning if someone actually needs to go to prison in this matter, but if you guys are working with the government, I think that more than likely somebody is going to prison. So, you know, in your community, and there was like a miracle that you were like, you may have been in a community, and someone like your authority or your ally started to video and audio surveillance people who may have been committing crimes against you as well, right? Some of them, they started conducting research, and someone here does not have a perfect crime, okay? Or there was like somebody who, they're getting tracked, okay? So, I'm hearing violators will be persecuted. I'm hearing violators will be persecuted. Maybe this is the block or delay to your financial flow, is because your revenue might be coming from some kind of compensation that you're owed, something, a payout at court. Okay. It'll be different for all of you. So when you, I don't know, something where this really feels like a piggyback of group one. These people they don't know how to consolidate their financial reports. So when you research them or when you audit their books, you bust them for the crime. That's what I'm hearing, okay? LOL. Someone's name is Tia. This is like a people that you share a community with. And I think that when you finally subpoena those books, I think that you will find a crime, okay? LOL. And they're also getting audio and video surveillance, so you'll kind of know, your ally will know what to look for in the audit, okay? And this is a miracle because anything is possible in this situation. We have Leo. It's like something where you were interacting. I think your biggest block to your financial flow is you guys need to learn more about biology, okay? You need to advance your knowledge about biology. And I think that is the block to financial flow, because it may mean something you doing more illegal experiments, friend. You getting more intelligence, more goblin intelligence, and more interactions with people. And I think that the more you interact with people, the more you start, you synthesize some type of biological knowledge that you've been integrating. I don't know. You guys have some type of, when biology comes out next to a perfect crime, some of you have really gotten down to the technicalities about crime or something like that, because there was no evidence, or there was nothing, you know what I'm saying? There was no evidence, or required a lot of research. Some of y'all, you're looking at autopsies, and you're conforming and conducting analysis, you're tracking their expenses, you're tracking their inflows and outflows of economic activities. You're some of these people are getting audio and video surveillance, right? A lot of you guys you could have a criminal business or legal authority, and I think that somebody may have committed a crime against you that you're actually it wasn't a perfect crime. It's just delayed and blocked, because you need to do more studying of life on Earth. Okay, study life on Earth, and this will kind of you will find a natural. The reason why this isn't a perfect crime is because it was a crime that may have been committed against you, that was acted on by an instinct or out of someone's, they did it, it was natural. It was natural. I'm not gonna say it was natural. That sounds weird, but it happened. It wasn't planned for, or wasn't. It wasn't natural. Some of it wasn't natural. And if it wasn't natural, you most definitely can kind of follow, you can follow, there's some kind of concrete conclusion you can reach, and it requires you to, especially if it was not natural, it did not exist in biology, it did not exist on life on Earth, and so that when you can find that point of fabrication where a reality or a organism fabricated out of where previously it didn't exist, okay? That's the block to your financial flow. Is this fatal calculation involves a biological assessment as well, okay? It involves you looking at a multicellular organism, how it interacted with the community and population, and using an advanced knowledge around something that may have been unnatural, like finding the point of fabrication in this matter, especially if you guys are working to, like, you're working to create an expression for a repeated crime or a repeated pattern of abuse. Okay, some of it you just, it doesn't have to go to biology. You can bust them in their budget and plan, but I think that you could be really interested in, like, in life on Earth and what was natural versus what was unnatural, and how that could have led, like, some of these unnatural situations lead to perfect crime. But something about this situation, it kind of feels like it wasn't a perfect crime, especially if you get to the biology, or like you start to perform like a technical analysis or a biological experiment on it. Like maybe some of you guys, you started conducting a research and learned that a crime was committed doing something unnatural, or it was an abuse of authority, using like a forbidden technology, or using something like it was an authority that was researching you, or something like something where you might be researching an authority, or authority was researching you, and they abused their authority to commit a crime against you. Okay, some of you guys, you're solving a crime for yourself or for someone else, and I think that whether it's an individual or a cell, you are going to find that point of fabrication. Okay, especially because some of you guys, you might benefit from studying like science, technology, engineering, and math. Like, I definitely feel like this science is like, it's biological related, and I think just like your natural interest about life on Earth it gets you where you want to go. And I also think that, like, especially if this was like with audio and video surveillance, some of you guys need to you need to study some type of electromagnetic field or electricity. Okay, because that is what makes it perfect, is because if it's an instant electrical fabrication, then it will model. Some of it can be modeled, but it could be modeled, it'll be modeled different depending on how the crime was, how it happened. And I think that it's crazy because some of you, where, this miracle where, it felt like it was a perfect crime, or it felt like somebody got away with doing something, they did not get away with this. You guys are receiving a miracle ally that is, where it just has a time frame. Okay, so that's the block or delay. But I think that, like, more studying is helping you, create more. It's not just about busting the crime, it's also about just like having, expressing about it, releasing energetic disturbances around whatever happened in this matter. Okay, I think that what's blocked and delayed is the advanced knowledge, and it just means that you need to keep studying, friends. You already received this miracle ally, right? Some of you guys, your ally is very extroverted, they're very talkative, they go all out and stuff like that, and they are very big in the community and interacting with the community. Okay, or this could be a criminal's strategy. They could be very charismatic, right? Very charming, right? But they're really like a psychopath narcissist or something, right? In the community, trying to like act normal when they're around video and audio surveillance. Okay. I definitely feel like something that if it was a crime, you'll find, fabrication where it did not exist in the life, like it did not exist as life on Earth before, versus when the crime started to exist. Okay, you will find a model to express this, and this is perfect. Okay, friends, this is perfect. I think that you're starting to come out of your shell again as you resolve this crime and just move. You're able to finally move on with your life, because this feels like a burden where you were. It could have been your assigned lot in life if you did not get this advanced knowledge, right? So let's get some tarot to confirm, though. I think that your money is flowing freely. um, LOL, especially as you talk to your community about biology. You know, people are starting to stick to the validity of things. They're starting to stick to what's, about, what is the meaning of life on Earth. It's not, and how it, from an individual to to the multicellular, and from the multicellular individual down to the to the cell in itself. Like, I think that you have been studying the interactions of the community and the population, and this is actually, people want to talk to you about this a lot, and so you guys could be coming out of your shell about this. And I think it all started from a crime that you conducted research around, and it advanced knowledge a lot. Okay, and the more you talk to your community about this stuff, you guys share information together, is what I'm hearing. I feel like you not being extroverted is actually blocking your money making capability. Okay, it's time to collaborate. Working alone takes too long. Work with others, share your community, receive their information, ponder ideas. I think that you are doing that, and that's like, it may have just like started with something that you created, and it sparked a big discussion, right? And I think that your finances are finally starting to flow now that you're being an extrovert and talking to people about this, talking to people about perfect crime, talking to people about biology, doing research with people. You're not the only one out there doing research. There's so many, technologies out there, friend. You can get a new man so fast, So, what blocked or delayed financial flow? I think that the blockage or delay is on a time frame, so it's not really blocked or delayed. Okay, there's a miracle happening here. Yeah, with the Six of Pentacles reversed, the Page of Swords reversed, and then the Hangman. With the Six of Pentacles, something that you created inspires a lot of action within people, but they don't do a lot of giving back. Okay, with this Six of Pentacles, it can feel like meager earnings. It can feel like one-sided charity, where they engage with what you create a lot and what you model a lot. And there are no free dances, there's no free modeling, there's no free multicellular organism. LOL. But I think that these people have really just not been giving. I think that and it was because if they haven't been giving to you, it's because they have been a criminal. Okay, some of them are criminals, or they're surveillancing you in a way. Okay, they're taking more than they give. They're very triggered by you, actually, right? And I think that with the Six of Pentacles reversed, that definitely can indicate, like, kind of recanting my statement from before. There's definitely blocked and delayed financial flow. And it's because there are people who, I don't know, there's like a lot of expenses here. Okay, there might be more expenses than there is revenue. There's more of you giving a lot of free things to people, because I think that you have to teach them a lot as well. Okay, there's a lot of one-sided charity here. And it's because they're secretly threatened and envious about your advanced knowledge about biology and crime. Okay, that's the reason why they're not giving to you. Some of this is a crime, and you're in flow with a time frame. Okay, to correct this one-sided charity, this one-sided giving, these thieves, these bad business deals with the Six of Pentacles. The Tower. So, there are people who receive your gift a lot, and they might come around and they engage with you a lot, friend. Okay, because some of you guys, you're modeling your aesthetic form of labor, so a lot of them want to look at you for free. Like, if they're coming in the strip club and stuff like that, managers. I know we have managers here from Bucks and Divas. So, and also, and from Arizona as well. Okay, Jaguars. So, So I think a lot of y'all, if you have customers, the managers, y'all need to start putting them out. Y'all cannot sit at the table and not be tipping the dancers, okay? We are not here to be modeling anything. We're here to get paid, right? There's no free modeling. There's no free dances. There are no free aesthetics. There's no free Renaissance glitch energy. And some of this, y'all, this is like, these people, I think that they're like shocked or something, okay? Shocked when they surveillance you. They're shocked by a community that you have. Because if it's like a community that you have that gives to you versus a community that just is a one-sided charity. And so with this hangman, I think that in this community where it's a one-sided charity, where you're giving a lot to them, you're doing a lot of modeling for them or something like that, I think that a lot of this is just delayed. It doesn't feel like, I feel like it doesn't feel like it's harmful. It could feel like there's just a negative thought pattern that could be where the Tower, clarifying the Six of Pentacles reversed, is where they actually become, you actually give them life, right? They had this pattern or this negative persistent thought, and you change their fundamental reality with an exploration of life on Earth and what you studied. And so they could be feeling a bit restless, but this is a miracle, LOL. Some of them, when they saw you behind the scenes or something like that, they realized, that they realized what you were tracking, who you were tracking, and why, LOL. Or they got a better understanding of your process. Some of them, they know that you're involved in a perfect crime, and so that's why they don't get to you, is because they know that you get away with crimes. A community of people that you interact with a lot, right? And they don't give to you so much. And so when they saw you getting gifted by another community, some of you grew a social media following, some of you, y'all shopping at Cosmic Intelligence, LOL. They see, people in real life as well, at your clubs and at your, studios, and at your, the people that you meet in real life. They actually give to you a lot, and so it makes them look like, it changes their understanding when they surveillance you behind the scenes or something like that, or they get more insight about what's going your process. It changes their understanding of a negative thought pattern that they had about you to justify not supporting you, to justify not giving to you. Some of these people, they really just wanted to, they're really just obsessed with your cell phone, okay? How pretty it is, or what you do on your phone. And so they're watching everything that you do on your phone. Some of them are hacking into your accounts, but you don't really give a fuck, because they're not actually intelligent enough to organize it, okay? Some of this person is something about the situation, it feels like you have a big ally here, but this person was previously under a negative thought pattern that was persistent. You, after doing some research or reorienting this person to a painful truth about life on Earth, around something that was fabricated on Earth versus something that naturally existed on Earth, it totally changed the interaction that you were having with these people. They found a lot of value in you sticking to the validity of things, and this changed their perspective in life, okay? And this was a miracle, because previously, before you studied this, or before you I think that you not having the biological understanding delayed the financial flow. And it's like, now that you have the biological understanding or some kind of STEM insights, it actually corrects these people's imbalanced thoughts about why they weren't given to you, okay? Especially as a creator, or especially as the person who you defended your life on Earth, or you defended something with an advanced knowledge that cannot be refuted, right? So this was shocking, but I think that what you learned is just that they were it was a mental illness, it was outdated or negative thought that was persistent. Some of it was literally just disdain, just jealousy, right? But a lot of this is just like there's a time frame for this to get corrected, and it involves you conducting more research and interacting with your community. I know some of you guys might feel like, wow, I have to do so much research and giving to people and to break them free from like, you know, something that was fabricated to begin with, something that was not a real organism or something like that, was a genetically modified organism. Some of you guys are, this is agricultural, this is something this deals with agriculture, self-care and wellness, or it deals with a sexuality problem, body image, body dysmorphia, you know, or it just deals with people not having financial freedom, or the fact that you look expensive. They justify why they justify not giving to you, okay, with a negative thought or some other crime. You know, some of them are the crime where they took more than they gave, right? But I see that you ran into a miracle, okay? Let me clarify this hangman before, okay? It's like something where they saw a miracle community, or they saw a miracle, like they saw you conduct research and it led to a miracle. You're like something where this was actually a wonderful idea. Okay, what you did was actually, what you created, was it resolved, you resolved something. Okay, you researched something and like got down to the technicalities, and found out that it was not a not so perfect crime, or found out that it was, you know, even if they got away with it, you know, you got the truth about it being fake. You got the truth about it being one-sided. You got the truth about it being jealous, or people who just wanted to take, right? You know, and you know, for lack of better words. So, and these were people that were supposed to be a community, right? And so when they see you getting gifted from another community, they knew that this meant economic inflow, right? But I think that you guys, the delay was is actually perfect too. Okay, everything is perfect, Fran. Okay, you know, you'll get what you want in a situation. Yeah, the sun coming out again, and I think that a lot of this is your man wanna hang, man come in town. Yeah, somebody man wanna hang with the sun. So the masculine influence, they're very restless about you, but I think that they're so happy that you conducted this research or studied their life. Like they said that this was a wonderful idea. They said, oh, I didn't know that I was doing something, you know, multicellular like that. Like, I don't know, Fran. Like it's something where they were like, you conducted research, you had a process for forecasting something, like you got into the model and the data and the revenue and the expense tracking, you started to do the surveillance, y'all. And this was all, you know, I think that like you started to like, the reason why you weren't being given to was like I think that what motivated you is that you knew something wasn't right in this community. Like you knew that they were around surveillancing but not giving, right? And so some of y'all, you started to do your own research, or maybe even on your own life, and then you started to look and seek elsewhere, like something where you started to get into you started to explore different frames, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, this miracle ally was shocked that they were stolen from too, like something where you solved a crime that seemingly was perfect or seemingly lacked traceability and evidence, and it was not so perfect when we got down to something. Like you helped your ally reveal like something I don't know, something where they could have revealed something about an important partner or a member in their community that was committing crimes against them or stealing from them, right? So this was hilarious. I'm not gonna say this was hilarious, but that was actually really sad. With the Seven of Swords, you know, somebody in the community, whether this is you or someone that you helped, it was you conducting research was a miracle, you know, for them and you. They feel like you were a miracle, and that, you know, something that brought them sorrow, you relieved them with an advanced knowledge, y'all. Okay, helping them return to their life on earth where they had moved to something that was fabricated, something that could not be explained, and a lot of them lost interest in something else. You know what I'm saying? Like that was crazy. And it's like once you, I don't know, something where when you conducted this research, or, you know, aimed to advance your knowledge, this helped you discern a lack of giving, and put up boundaries with these other people, but it also like helped your community in a big way. And I know you're like, okay, well, I give to this community, so some of you guys, you give to a community so much and they don't give back. But I think that what was a miracle is that you actually moved. You know, some of this is like in the past, or feels kind of outdated. It was like you moved into another community, right? They gave to you, and it helped you discern where they were not, where they were just tracking, where they were just surveillance, where they were just monitoring spirits, right? And I think the wrong community was the delay to the financial flow, or the crime was not getting solved because you were not conducting enough research. And the more research that you conduct, the more you can help yourself and others study their life on earth and put together their fragmented identities from sorrows in the past. It's like something where the Six of Pentacles, you and others in your community face this lack of giving, face the theft, face dodgy business deals, right? And you might not have thought that this was possible. You discover something in your research that not only helped yourself but helped others. And that's the true meaning of embodiment. That's the true meaning of actualize. Your movement isn't embodied. Your life isn't embodied when you're just a copycat dude. Fullest embodiment means that you actualize your potential such that you help yourself and others, right? That's what embodiment is, not copying someone else, FYI. Okay, LOL. But something where you conducted a research and you were shocked that this happened, y'all. You did not just help yourself. You helped someone else. You helped others that where it was previously not traceable and lacking evidence. You did something. You performed the autopsy. Okay, LOL. You did some research, y'all, and it just was your natural curiosity to study life on Earth, and this liberated you and others. Okay, it was a miracle, friend. For you to release these, people in the community that have been strategizing and interacting, behind the scenes to do something undermining. You were met with a miracle right in the face of the people who thought that they can steal, kill, and destroy. Thank you so much, you guys. Your economic flows you are receiving a miracle of economic flow, actually, from your, as a gift. For your research that was conducted in this matter, okay? You ate in this matter. That was a high stake in this matter. Actually, you're a part of the precedence now. I love you guys so much. Let me know